Pay no attention to the sound, it's not important. Oh my god, we got big breaking news this morning from the Super Mario movie. Social channels is, of course, the Galaxy movie coming out in April 1st, so next week on Wednesday. And so this is a pretty massive news update. There has been speculation of some sort of many crossover elements for some time. Our first indication of that was Rob the Robot showing up in, I think he was first leaked in some merch and then showed up in an ad or something, which was pretty crazy. But then again, it's like, so at that point you're looking at Rob the Robot and you're like, all right, that's pretty crazy. But, you know, Rob has been in Mario games with Mario Kart DS. There's a Rob the Robot bike in Mario Kart World recently. So he's it's not the craziest crossover. He's kind of like a series agnostic Nintendo character, one of those that can show up in multiple things. So you know, it's great to see him in a movie, but you might not think that much of it. Then our next big indication that something else was happening was Pikmin showing up in an ad with a bunch of characters just straight in the middle. They were flashed on screen for just a frame or two, which was pretty wild. That was another big indication that something beyond Mario might be happening in this film. And, you know, but then again, it's also Pikmin, which have shown up in Mario games before. They're at Super Nintendo World. There was a Pikmin-shaped statue in the first Mario movie. So again, another sort of series-agnostic character that can show up in multiple places without it being that big a deal. The thing that I did not really expect was there was a Fox McCloud speculation leak that happened where there was a frame where it looked like a character might be Fox McCloud. Some other people speculated that it was actually Captain Toad's backpack. As it turns out, though, no, it seems that was actually just freaking Fox goddamn McCloud showing up in the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which is pretty wild. I think this does indicate the direction that Nintendo is going with movies, potentially, from my perspective, so we'll get into that. First of all, just on its face, this is it looks like a very modern CGI movie interpretation of Fox McCloud, which is pretty damn neat, honestly. It looks like a good design. We have the Mario Galaxy monkey hanging out here. We got the repair crate that he's standing on, and the R-Wing in the back. So this is pretty wild. And, you know, the question must be asked, what role is he going to play in the movie? And also, if they're showing this now, this does kind of indicate to me that there will likely be some other Nintendo-related surprises and characters potentially showing up in the film, at least in the form of teases, perhaps, like a post-credit scene. For the first Mario movie, we, of course, had Yoshi, but I think I don't want to get too hyped up, but I think the post-credit scene for the Mario Galaxy movie could be pretty crazy if we're getting stuff like Fox freaking McCloud revealed in just a social media drop. So what I'm really looking at is the future here. So first of all, we'll have to see. Presumably, his role in the film will probably be pretty brief. I can't imagine him taking up too much screen time. It would be really great if we got some sort of musical cues from Star Fox when he shows up. The Star Fox theme is, of course, great. So that would be excellent. Apart from that, though, you know, how are the Pikmin going to show up? We know Rob the Robot is like he's like working at a space station. So it's kind of unclear how much of a role he's going to play in the movie, but there will presumably at least be at least one scene featuring this guy. The other thing to note is, of course, he is a character associated with Shigeru Miyamoto, who's heavily involved in the film, as are the Pikmin. So you could interpret it as this just being something Miyamoto wanted in the film, that doesn't really indicate any future plans. I think the more likely outcome, though, is this does likely indicate there are future plans for more crossover stuff. I think in terms of just the series momentum, jumping from the Mario movie, the first one, to the Mario Galaxy movie is a pretty big jump. And the first Mario movie had the limited crossover elements, which were basically all just Easter eggs. Here, they seem to be even more front and center and appearing in actual characters appearing actually in the flesh. So it does make you wonder, is the point I'm getting to, is for the next Mario movie, are we going to get a Super Smash Brothers movie? Which before I would have thought is highly unlikely, but, you know, seeing Fox McCloud and these other Nintendo characters be revealed before the film's even out does make me feel like this is a direction that Nintendo wants to go with for their movies. You know, something like Star Fox might not be enough to carry a full, you know, 100 million budget animated film, but, you know, featuring him as part of a Mario Galaxy movie, that's something that works. Same goes for what I'm most interested in is stuff like Kirby. You know, if we got a Smash Bros. Movie, could you know, I think Kirby characters could likely show up. We also some other possible Nintendo characters that are likely or possible will be Captain Falcon, Samus. Both those two characters also had little background cameos in the first Mario movie. Samus's gunship had a poster, as did the Blue Falcon from F-Zero. So I do feel like we are building to something with these further integrations of crossover characters. And you could say, oh, that's cringe, but I would say I don't care. It's kind of epic. I did a Subspace video on the main channel recently, and I really do just enjoy seeing these Nintendo characters meet up and hang out in fun scenarios. I think that's a great thing. So getting more of that in movie form would be exceptional. And I do think there is, you know, really big box office opportunity there. Smash Bros. Games, especially Ultimate, sell really well. Ultimate, I think, was in the 30 million seller range, which I think is more than Mario Galaxy, if I recall correctly, or at the very least it's in that zone. I would not have said that's very likely before this reveal, but the fact that it's being put out before the movie is even out is pretty crazy, and does to me indicate that we'll likely be getting further teases for more Nintendo characters showing up. Marvel really popularized big movie crossovers with characters showing up, and even if Nintendo doesn't really build up those characters in their own movie universes beforehand, I think they can still get away with just putting them in there. I think these characters are recognizable enough to enough people, and you know, seeing I'm just very curious to see what we get from a post-credit tease from the Mario Galaxy movie, which there undoubtedly will be. Pretty wild announcement. I did not really think this was going to happen. I thought the Star Fox stuff was a little bit, you know, that's not super likely, but it turns out it is happening. So wow. And I think this does raise the possibility of what I would really like to see from a Nintendo movie, which is a Smash Bros. Movie, which I mean, I think that would just be a pretty big deal. Seems more likely, so we'll have to see what happens in the movie itself. But I think that would be a pretty great way of raising the scale of the next Mario movie, is incorporating more Smash Bros. Elements, even if it's not titled the Super Smash Bros. Movie. If they go with some other titling convention, I think leaning into that territory would be financially profitable for them, which is the main motivator. And then, of course, I think it would also just be kind of cool, because I would love to be able to go to a movie theater and have some sort of Kirby element show up in a movie featuring other Nintendo characters. That's what I'm looking at most of all. Of course, everyone else will have their own Nintendo character that they want to show up the most. That's what it is for me. And I did not think it would be particularly likely, but now, that could happen a couple years down the line. We could get the next Mario movie or a Smash Bros. Movie which features a wider range of Nintendo characters. So pretty damn exciting. Very scattershot video, but this is a pretty crazy announcement. So that's just how it goes. All right, I'll see you later.